Is it getting better?
Vamos this.
Do you feel the same? Will it make it easier on you now? You got someone to blame.
Băi, prostie bună, tu!
One love, one life. When it's one need in the night. One love, we get to share it. Leaves you, baby, so don't care for it.
All right. Welcome to the Ricardo del California Show. I am with Pavel Svera. Pavel, welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here.
Thank you. All right. Pavel is the world's premier Bono impersonator, and of course, I mean Bono from U2.
Yeah.
Pavel, how long have you been doing the Bono impersonation?
I have been a professional Bono impersonator since approximately 2001. When I talk about professional, I'm talking about when I'm getting paid or being hired to do something. So about that time, more popular around 2002, 2003. That's where it was a little more established when I got my domain names. So
now, how did you kind of come to this realization that A, you look like Bono, and B, you should capitalize on this opportunity career? And we're going to talk more today because Pavel is also a massive humanitarian, and we're going to get into that as well. How did you kind of come to the conclusion or figure out, hey, I kind of look like Paul Hewson, aka Bono? How did this happen?
And in my case, it was a long process of doing something like this. I've been hearing the lookalike comments and then hearing the "You are Bono" comments for now since 1979. So we're looking at 22 years before I actually did anything about it. And so I was already a musician performing in San Diego. I was rowing a gondola, singing some opera, some ballads, love tunes, art songs. And I was working at this restaurant in San Diego where I play guitar, sing anything and everything to a bunch of people coming in, a bunch of drunks.
Right.
And so I was already performing. And so the lookalike comments just kind of fit in. It was like a piece to a puzzle. I was already on stage. I'm now getting the comments way more regularly. Bono's gotten uber fame. And so I thought it'd just be one step next that I just go into this. Initially started doing the lookalike impersonation work with a band, and that was the goal, to create an international U2 tribute act and possibly just travel doing that. There were bands in San Diego already doing tribute acts like Wild Child, which is a tribute to
the Doors.
Right, the Doors, and they were incredibly successful, and there were Eagles tributes, there was Led Zeppelin tributes, and I thought, why not a U2 tribute? There was already a band established in New Jersey, a very, very good band called Unforgettable Fire, and really they were just really good. But they're on the East Coast. So I'm going, well, I can represent on the West Side. But and then it slowly eased into me doing solo work where I would do meet and greets. Now I've connected with agencies that specialize in tribute artists doing solo work, singing to tracks, essentially karaoke to their persona. And that was not only more lucrative, I didn't have to do all of the work that I was doing with my band. Mm-hmm. Getting a show with my band was a lot of work. Me showing up at a venue, a couple of times before an event to promote as Bono, collecting email addresses. By mid 2000s, I've had thousands of email addresses of people I've met all over, because part of it was not just staying local, but expanding out.
Sure.
Okay, have fun.
You went from, locally to globally.
Right, that's right. That's right. I went to Europe. I went as solo. I've done Romania's Got Talent, Bulgaria's Got Talent. I've done a bunch of interviews in Serbia. I toured in Italy with the band out there. I've done 40,000 people shows.
Where did you do one of these 40,000 people shows?
I was in Valencia, Spain.
Wow.
With my band.
Doing Bono.
Yeah, as with my band. I had a U2 tribute act in Italy.
Now, the first time I saw you was in like early 2000s at an Irish pub down in San Diego with the band Desire, which is still the current band, correct? Yeah. We met again at the Strawberry Festival of all places in Vista a few years ago,
right.
Which I will put on the screen shortly here. And I took a double take because I knew Bono was not in Vista, but
and at the Strawberry Festival.
Yes, right. But I mean, why wouldn't he? But and then it all just came together. And then, as season one, I was starting to think I want to get some people in here that I have similar passions. I've been a U2 fan, right, since 1987. So it's not only an honor to just to talk with you today, but I mean, this is incredible because my friend got a haircut for my mother, okay, and he had the Joshua Tree on cassette. Incidentally, it was April of '87, and they were in San Diego that night, so it was already sold out, right, for the Joshua Tree. I borrowed the tape. I listened to it so many times, it snapped. All right, my journey with U2 has gone to meeting Bono very briefly at a U2 show in '04 at the Atomic Bomb. Just basically made a comment. He acknowledged me. I've been to Ireland. I've been to Dublin. I've been went out through Death Valley up to Vegas. I went to Zabransky Point.
Right.
On the screen here in a second. And I've been to the actual Joshua Tree that fell. Okay.
Right.
Most people think that's in Joshua Tree. It's in Death Valley off Highway 190. And I have another video on my other show called Hikey Boy Travel where you can see that if you click on the link on top of the YouTube page and I go there. It's still there. It is become a shrine.
Shrine, right.
Unfortunately, it fell down.
Have you been there? Right? Got a concrete plaque of some sort.
Have you been out there yet or no?
No. Are you ready?
Yeah.
I'm a fan of U2.
Yes.
I'm a fan of Bono.
Yeah.
I don't go where they are. I don't do any of that stuff.
Okay.
I don't. I went one time to a hotel where Bono was, the Chateau Marmont in Los Angeles, where Bono would stay when he's touring. This is only one time I've done this. I beg your pardon. It's 2 times I've done something like that. I'll explain. It's kind of funny. Part of it is I'm already getting the accolades, and I don't want to disrupt, his presence. I don't need to distract the people. I'm already doing that at U2 shows and creating a really ridiculous scene.
I can only.
Oh yeah, dude! It's a madhouse.
I'm almost positive I ran into you again at '04 at Atomic Bomb. Were you in San Diego that night in March of '04?
Yes, I was.
I think my friend of mine took a picture, and I'm almost dead positive. So we probably ran into each other 3 times.
They had 2 shows here.
Yes, yeah. We ran it. She's like, "Is that Bono?" I'm like, "No, but it looks exactly like." So for our guest, if you would be so kind, so. We have the look. We have the rosary, beads there, right? If you could throw on some glasses here, so if we could get the full effect, I think it would be amazing.
Absolutely. And shall I show you how I get the mascara and get the darkness on the screen?
Oh, there we go. So we are hearkening closer to 2017-ish when he started using I'll call them the John Lennon glasses of when he did the Joshua Tree reunion. Am I right? That's when he started doing the.
No, he started to use these round glasses. These are from Oliver Peoples. They're called
Oliver Peoples
After Midnight, and they are $560 a pair. And plus, I got to get the lenses tinted. I want you to know. No, that was probably 4 or 5 years ago where he started to shift in the different glasses. No, it started in 2015-ish, and I know this because I was in Dublin, Ireland, and people were commenting on the glasses. I have friends of mine that are YouTube fans, and they'll send me, updates. One specifically, then who knows Bono, and she's ridiculous. She'll sleep all night to make sure she gets front row seat right in front of me.
Of course.
So Bono acknowledges her regularly. Bono spent some time with her back in the late '80s when her brother had died from cancer, and he was a U2 fan. And when she got a chance to say hello to him, she explained the story, and they sat down for 45 minutes together. And she went with him through his photo album of knickknacks that she had collected from the U2, and they had conversations. So when she goes to the U2 shows, very often Bono may acknowledge her in the show. And and I think partially because of her, I went to the U2 show in 2011. I had a ticket.
Uh-huh.
I walked in with the ticket, and I just kept getting the doors open for me. People screaming, Bono, Bono, oh my God, Bono. So I kept walking and walking and walking until I went right in the front where the audience is and where Bono's mic stand. So I was possibly 10, 15 feet away from Bono's mic stand because the security just kept opening the door thinking I was Bono.
Right. Yeah.
But I had a ticket. I want you to know. I don't.
No, absolutely. Now, these were my favorite pair, and these are knockoffs, but these are from, they're a little wider, but a little more closer to Do TV with a bug-eyed for the fly. Yeah. So these, if we could put yours on real quick, again. So now I do not look like Bono like you.
Well, that's you got a Joe Bonamassa thing going, so good for you.
So okay, 92 Bono look, more circa 2022 Bono here. So it's definitely a cool thing. I've always enjoyed his glasses. Most people don't know he has a disorder where he's very sensitive to light. So that's why he's wearing these glasses.
And I am as well. And that affects a lot of people who have light colored eyes. I have light blue eyes. So
yes. Like Bono, I think also has blue eyes. These are some fantastic stories. One of the things that I wanted to talk a little bit about was you got a chance to appear. And it's really interesting because now we're mixing my favorite singer and my favorite actor. So I don't know. I'm in heaven. And it's interesting because this actor I shook hands with briefly at the 360 tour in Pasadena. Saw Paris Hilton there because I was on the floor.
Right.
Flash passed by. It was a who's who in Hollywood. Hey, that's Pierce Brosnan, my favorite actor, 007, right? Bond and Bono, the two Bs, right? You actually were invited to sing at his home in Malibu. What was the story behind that?
So it's great, yeah. So now my band's gotten some fame. This is probably 2005-ish or so. I get an email, hello, saw your band, interested in having your band perform for an Irish celebrity in Malibu for a house birthday party for the celebrity's 5-year-old son. Are you interested? Responded back, thank you so much for your inquiry. Yes, we are available. Just kind of curious who you may, be speaking of, and blah, blah, blah. So this went on for about a month as it happened, and it was all via email. And we my band was like, oh, heck yeah, because we all thought it was The Edge, because The Edge lived there, and he had a son who was turning 5. And I'm just going, does he really want a tribute band there? The Irish are generally pretty cool people. You know,
I've met them.
In general, they're pretty cool people. And so that was something I've come to really admire about the culture. They're approachable, and they just generally have a very social mindset. They can connect with people without feeling like, okay, you're rich and so I can't have conversations with you. There is something to be said about status being your identity, and that the Irish will quickly knock you down, or at least attempt to knock you down, if you're attempting to have that kind of pompous stance in their presence. So, as I digress, back to the story. Now we agree. Money wasn't crazy great, but it was good. So, and they're really cool. So I have a couple of my nieces work with me as assistants, and I have a friend of mine who does jumpers. He's a Pierce Brosnan fan, so he shows up just as well. And we get to the house in Malibu, and bands already unloaded. They're setting things up. I walk into one of the rooms, main room, and Pierce is doing something, and he looks at me kind of like he's doing one of these, and he's looking at me, and he's going, Pavel. I said, hi, Pierce. Hey, thanks for having us here. Oh, lovely home. It's good to be here. Nice to meet you. And he's going, would you mind taking a photo with me? Like a selfie? And I go, and I said to him, look him dead in the eye, I go, you're kidding, right? Right? You're kidding. It's not like you're Pierce Brosnan. You're friends with these people.
Yeah.
These are you're Irish yourself. You're
of course,
friends
absolutely.
with them.
Only Irish Bond, might I add. Yes.
Yeah, right. That's right. That's right. And he'd spent some time in it. And from what I gather, he's had a rough childhood. I'm going to say this, man. Of all the celebs I've met in Hollywood, he is hands down the most approachable and gentlemanly man. He reminded me of a modern day James Stewart.
Yeah, when I met him at the show, he was going up to the stage where the dignitaries are, and Stuart Copeland from the Police was hanging up there. Pierce Brosnan, I just tapped him.
Oh yeah,
big fan. He turns around, he shakes my hand a little extra longer. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, he's like that.
He was very polite, and again, here I am with my very favorite actor, and I'm trying to be as polite, but not utterly invasive, but tapping somebody on the back who's famous. He could have just kept walking. Big fan, and he did that. So you performed for his son. He has two. That must have been an amazing night. Was the edge there or no?
No, Dean Cain it was a small thing for his kid's 5th birthday, Right. So some of his friends were there, some of their parents were there. This was on the beach, so there was one security guy, Secret Service looking at the beach.
Absolutely.
It was a really small gathering, and it was fun. So
very cool.
A sliding door. So we look out to the beach, and there we are playing outwards. And do we have a constant audience? No. Was this kid constantly watching us? No. It's 5 years old.
To be there and to bring in the YouTube presence and to be with 007, hey, it's one for the books. So I also want to talk about your humanitarian work.
Okay.
So Pavel obviously is a world premiere Bono impersonator, has performed for record numbers of people around the world, and has almost even got backstage at a YouTube show because of the uncanny resemblance. Let's talk a little bit about your humanitarian work.
Okay.
You recently went into Europe. You were in Ireland. You were doing some humanitarian work. For those of us that don't know about that component of you, tell us a little bit about what you do.
Great. So part of my humanitarian element is that I oftentimes get myself involved with organizations that are doing projects that I'm able to do as well. I mean, there's a whole tier of things that go on in humanitarian elements. I've got an organization based here in San Diego that I've been volunteering with for 32 years, and they do disaster relief work as well as medical training in third world countries. And so I've been going throughout the United States where there have been natural disasters, hurricanes, floods, things like that, and helping rebuild homes for the indigent. You spend a week there, right? I mean, it used to cost me to go there. They would pay for the flights, but you pay for everything else. So, picking up a hammer, whatever, wheelbarrow, gloves, roofing, drywall work, flooring, tile, whatever. You do whatever has to be done. Generally, there's some general contractors who work as well. I've been doing humanitarian work with orphanages for years. That's a big one for me. I grew up deeply religious, although I have no religious affiliations and all of that and the sorts. I think the seeds have been planted with regards to my what they call duty of care. I learned that in Ireland, this phrase, duty of care for the lesser of these, even though I'm going to throw a biblical verse out there from the Christian Bible. There's that you have done to the lesser of these, you've also done to me, as Jesus purportedly had said. Mm-hmm. So for me, that struck home. I grew up poor. I was from a big family of 11 kids. Parents were immigrants. They didn't speak English. They did whatever to survive and make sure that their families had the basics. And we had the basics. Didn't turn out, all that well, because we deal with the human condition of personalities and wants and wishes and blah blah blah.
Sure.
So, but for me, my humanitarian work has extended all the way back into the mid '80s. So when I got myself involved with something larger, I thought, okay, great. You learn how things function, where your pile of resources, whether it's knowledge, whether it's materials, whether it's even finances, that's a material, I want you to know, and your know-how, how there's a flow of things that make things work a little better. So this particular time I went to Romania to provide humanitarian aid to the Ukrainian refugees at the behest of a friend of mine who was working with World Central Kitchen,
Yep.
a large organization, over $100 million fund, where they go into disaster relief areas or war-torn areas, and they essentially set up kitchens.
Yes.
They'll work with other local restaurants. They're trying to provide local food and hot food and nutritionally dense food.
Right.
So I went there. I just got a one-way ticket. I said this before. I didn't know what was going to happen. I bought a one-way ticket, and I expected a door to open that I would probably die there.
Right.
I didn't know what Putin was going to do, whether he was going to set up a nuclear bomb or this and that. I was prepared for that.
Yeah.
But that's how it works.
Right.
I don't want to. If you want to give water to runners in a marathon, doing a fundraiser for some organization with $1 trillion budget, constantly giving away ribbons and stuff like that. Okay, I like to be in the trenches because that's where the desperation is.
Yeah, and I think that's absolutely incredible.
Yeah,
Pavel, it's about being in the trenches. It's about giving back, right?
Right.
Doing to others,
right?
Do for you. My mother was one of 7. My grandfather worked on the Empire State Building.
Right.
So
good.
It's about going back to our roots. It comes down to it's about family. It's about giving, and it's about being connecting with that.
Right.
I think that's an incredible thing. And
thank you.
You do that. I love to showcase people that are giving back and making the world a better place. If one of our audience, if anybody in the audience, should I say, wants to come see you in concert, read more about you, what is the name of your website?
BonoDouble.com.
BonoDouble.com. Okay.
I do videos for people if I don't, affordably, if they want me to do a little video.
Right.
I'm on Cameo.com. I do a lot of things. I'm in a position now where I gotta invent something addressing issues with climate change.
So this has been an incredible meeting, sir. If you could just put the glasses on real quick for us.
Man, absolutely.
All right. And
one love, one life, when it's one need in the night. One love, we get to share it. Leave your baby sound. Have a cup of coffee with me. My brother, thank you so much for having me. It's been an honor. Thank you so much, man.
Hey, I appreciate it.
Well, hello again. This is Rick Cardledale, California. Thank you so much for watching my show. It means so much to me. If you like what you saw today, please subscribe, and I'll see you real soon.